Hello and welcome to Orion Spear Point. Good evening again. Seems to be kind of a running theme, but I like it because it's a lot cooler. It was another hot one today. How is everybody doing? It's an interesting day. There's a lot shifting. There's a lot coming in and a lot opening. Um, so before we jump in, there is still slots available for the group if you feel called. Um, One is on 7/7 in the evening around 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and then another one on 7/8. So I think that's Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday um, at 9 a.m. So those are the two um, groups running, and then you have until an hour before the group to sign up if you feel called. So it's not like it's shutting down until the spots are filled up. And that's going to be kind of tied into today's message about the shifting point about what's coming in. I listened to one of my favorite astrologers recently, and she was talking about what's happening this week. And I was kind of laughing because my guidance was to 7/8 kept popping up in visions. And then this week you have the full moon and your Uranus goes into Gemini, which is the first time since like the 1940s. And it's going to be all about communication and relationships and dynamics and the huge shift. But it's kind of like a sample because yeah, I'm not an astrologer, so I won't pretend to be. But yes, that was good confirmation to see that and feel that. Um, And then their website is getting ground. So there's a couple of different offers on there, though. I'm committing to do announcements and newsletters and stuff like that. So there's a lot flowing in with that. So, and there's going to be like the way I've always seen it is the gifts from the land that I've gone to, um, the medicine and the codes that they have shared. They need a container for it for delivery, basically. So that was going to be offered on the website in a couple of different, kind of like the Patreon model, but on Kajabi. So if you feel called, I'll link it down below as well. And what else? That's about it for now. So without further ado, let's jump in. So what is today? Is today going to be? No, this is going to be a dance of two message. Okay. So the masculine and feminine energies, the turning point and accepting the connections, reharmonizing within your system, and then also coming into being. Um, there's a lot shifting um, globally in the counterparts, in the collective energies, in the land, in the stars. I mean, there's so much shifting all at once, and it seems to be running pretty fast. What I felt like is hitting today, and I kind of see it, was there was this. So after this turning point, and now this familiarization between refamiliarization, because you're both there. It is. You're both walking in the gardens, right? And you can kind of see each other in the energies, but it is this kind of like almost there it is. The formation of your presence within the garden takes priority first before the relationship or the connection. There it is, the connection in the garden together, basically. So, this is what I kind of been seeing. Well, and that's more to do with the counterparts, but it is masculine and feminine, at least the masculine and feminine energies, because you have this kind of like almost reformation of the masculine energy and this new, because it's foundation, it's made it, Or yes, it's made it in some senses because it's actually forming itself, but then it needs to know its direct connection to that pure energy in complete its own connection, basically, with the absence of the feminine. And then vice versa, like the feminine is like restructuring an entire framework of everything, because you have all these, ooh, there it is, you have all these protective mechanisms that have held, that are actually part of the whole, they're more interwoven than I thought. So they're actually part of the some of the framework of what kept the masculine energy from actually forming in that pure place. I'll say that twofold, because you're already there. So there's a part of you that is always present, and the like that can't be held out. But at the same time, the more the union, the merge, the more the presence, the more you embody, there's the word, then it's about coming into that place. And it's always been kind of, I wouldn't say gated, because that's not true, because you could still access it, but at the same time it felt restricted. So, and that restrictions tie into some of the feminine protective mechanisms. So, and these are old, these are very, very old. So they're some of the foundation points since the fall. So we've both have these masculine and feminine. There's foundational pieces of these, and they were necessary. And now, so to enter the garden, here's a process. So to enter the garden, the masculine had to follow the light of the feminine, right? And then getting there and then establishing himself. Now it's no longer needing the feminine to do that, and it's establishing his presence and his presence and the co-creation of that song with that pure energy. I just say garden because that's the best way. That's the best analogy I think of at the moment. But it does need a new word. Anyways, that's taking place now, because that energy's there, and the gifts that it brought, because it's brought gifts from its very presence, from the road it's walked. Because to be able to show up, you've had to harmonize your energy in the masculine stream. And I get it. This is kind of like the masculine collective stream. You don't see it in the physical yet, and it's hitting the collective at the moment. So this is like, I can feel this as kind of like the, yes, it's ahead of the collective. So I will say that this energy is ahead of the collective, the broad stream of the masculine energy, and it's there. Okay. But with this, there's a lot of restructuring and reharmonizing that is, and rearranging that's taking place, because in order to do that, now what's come up is all the restricted access of the feminine protective mechanisms that have been put in place and were necessary since the fall, but now it's being come up to be let go, but that's interconnected to way more. And it's and they've played a role, but they've also kind of like, what I'm seeing right now is that the time doesn't work like that. So like you could have something that's happening 1,000 years ago and it would still affect today. So like unraveling those protective mechanisms could have detrimental causes to some of those times. So it's always following source first, but they are being pulled up to be kind of looked at and shed light on. And by letting them go, then it's actually the formation of the feminine's new or true role in the garden as well. So they're perfect little dancing off each other. And then, yeah, yeah. So this is going to be the reharmonization of this process. So the masculine energy, how I feel it, is going to be that kind of like the reformation. And then it's also, ooh, there it is. It's stepping all the energy that's allowing it to enter, but it's also the co-creation within the garden. So it's dancing into that and then forming, and then the connection is held, right? That's your first point. But now you're in that pure place, that garden, basically. And the feminine energy's been there. That's my sense. It's been holding it up for a long, long, long time. Not saying the masculine energy's been completely absent, because I do feel like it's been there, but it's not been, how should I say this? There hasn't been a lot of it. There hasn't been a lot of representatives. There's the word. So this is kind of like a turning point. And it's going to take time to hit the collective stream in this way, because to walk this way, like, everybody's leading the way in, and they have to do the step-by-step process in order to do it, right? But that's guided from soul source. And then when this happens, this whole new dance starts to form and starts to unravel. And then it might be another video. Let me check. Yeah, it's another video. Okay. So that was to do with the counterparts and the evolution with them, um, and the connection itself and what's being activated. So that one will be a separate video. This seems to be like the whole, the restructuring of the masculine, and then it's starting to click in. So there's more work, play, co-creation that's happening. And there's also the not disinterest, but almost separation from the masculine and feminine. And it seems to be the mirror point of a lot of the separation that has happened. It is, what's happening now is like the masculine energy is going into the garden and then reforming himself, but this is also the mirror point to the feminine of the separation. So with this, it's going to some of those times might come up, strictly to do with the, not strictly, a lot to do with the counterparts. Like when you had the separation happen, like that's going to be coming up because it's going to be flipped. At least that's how it's coming to me right now, with the new arrangement, the reharmonization of this whole process. Yeah, interesting. Okay. So with that, I'm going to leave it here. And then probably tomorrow I'll do that other video, because that one's fun. That's the counterparts as well. And I have sessions available, and the group is available as well. And I'll put it down below. But this was lovely. This is a little check-in, and we'll continue this dance as it kind of comes in and flows and stabilizes, because the energy is starting to land into the physical, and that's exciting. So I can feel it. You can taste it. So with that, Connor, I give you a lot of love, and I give you a lot of love. Thank you. Shine bright. Love you tons.